Hello, folks. Welcome back. I'm here today with Owen from Organic Cardboard.
He is. Yes, he is.
And today's video is 5 games I promised myself I'd play this year. So these
Promises may or may not be kept, but hopefully, maybe.
and
We'd like to.
There's all kinds of different reasons. So that's more than that I'd like to play. Or these are ones that you've told yourself, I gotta play this.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's going to take another hour or two to learn the rules, or day or two, to relearn the rules.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to do that teach again, where everybody pretends like they've never played it before, even though it's been only 2 years since you brought out like Frostpunk or whatever.
Yeah. These are a lot of games that you see you pass them by on your game library, and you're just like, man, I gotta play that, and then you're just on doing something else. Walk by it again. God, I gotta play that game, and then you just walk.
How about Patchwork?
Yeah. It's like I got something, or you got Cult of the New going on, and you got all this new stuff in your way, and you're learning that, and then you keep passing that one that's got tears in its eyes as it's looking at you, and you just look away.
Don't you love me anymore, Daddy? All right. I've decided to do this in no particular order because I get kind of lost in this hierarchy of like what's my favorite game or what I'm most excited about. I'm really excited to play all these games, and I think we're gonna go back and forth with 5 different games.
Sure.
And then we've got a special last game that we'll mention that has a deeper meaning.
Okay, outside of the 5, we're gonna put that. All right, that'll be the bonus 6.
Yeah.
The shared 6.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So let's mention Arnak. That's a game that everybody is fully familiar with. I've got friends that have played the heck out of it. I've only played it maybe 3 times maybe if you count the solo games. Maybe I played it a couple times solo and a couple times with other people. But man, I look at that game every time I get it out. I'm like, this game's so fun. It's so pretty, and it's got such excellent components on it. At least the better part of them are. Some of them are a little goofy, but man,
it's a little 80s in some areas.
That's just such a nice game. I really want to get that back out again because every time I get it out, there's a lot that I have to kind of remember strategy every time, and I keep thinking, man, if I just played this again right away, I'd probably do a lot better. But that's going to be my first one, I think.
They keep adding to it, too.
Yeah.
So it gets deeper and deeper. It's got a campaign now.
Yeah.
So there's a reason to pull it out over and over again in a row.
There's a big box for it if you want to hold all the stuff, and it's going to have a little extra bonus with it.
Is that a crowdfunding or a retail thing? Or pre-order or something like that?
I think it's pre-order. I think so. I'm not sure. But I've at that point too with it where I'm like, I don't even want the big box. I've got an insert jammed with everything in the original box except for the last one that came out, the little campaign thing sitting out the side. But anyways, it needs to get back on the table.
I agree. I love that one. My wife loves it too. There's no reason I shouldn't be playing that.
There's no reason except
every month.
Everything else.
Except that I have a lot of games.
Yeah.
Oh, and I meant to mention too. This is 5 each, so this one goes to 11.
Oh, it does.
My first one is The Witcher. The Witcher we have played within a few months. I guess it was a few months ago, last year.
Yeah. I don't think we played it this year, did we? We
played it. I didn't. And so we went. Yeah, we played it at the game store, and I didn't bring mine because I hadn't sleeved it yet.
Yeah. And Sean painted his whole thing.
He
still hasn't played it since it's been. This is a reoccurring theme with Sean. Yeah. Is that he paints a game and then it's doomed to never get played again.
Yeah, for some reason it just sits there in the box. It's like a curse. I fully painted.
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I fully painted Lords of Ragnarok.
Yeah. And you just
haven't played it since I
feel like there was something else you just finished painting too
Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yeah. But that one does get. Well, it has anyways.
It's gotten further down the list.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But the Witcher has got some great miniatures. It's a game we both had a good time with and barely scratched the surface.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Of like all the other stuff. Like I want to play What's that one with the four horsemen of the apocalypse or whatever?
Yeah, the Wild Hunt.
Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to play all that.
Yeah, and I probably would have put this on my list as well, but I knew Sean was going to put it on his even without talking to him, so I figured it would be talked about regardless. Man, it's one of my favorite games, and it has only gotten played a handful of times.
It's a great one.
It's
a great
really
one.
fun.
It's a little long. So it's hard to work it into your schedule and stuff. But
It just depends how you play. If you got people that are playing it right, it's quick.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a little.
The way
bit
we
of a
play,
length,
it's going to be a while.
If we play the way we do, yeah, you don't rush the game like you should. But,
Well, you just want to linger.
Yeah.
And those,
Yeah.
you want to improve and stuff like that. You don't want it to end.
it's fun.
It's just been 5 hours. Who cares?
Such a good theme in that game. I loved it.
I love it too. What you got?
So this is one that Sean and I always mention every time we are looking at our games. Every time I'm over at Sean's place, we kind of point at it once again as Beast. I feel like Beast does not get enough love, and it is such a neat, cool game. Enjoy it every time we get it out. I feel like it's best though if you've got at least 3 people playing, and probably even 4. At least 3 though, and so that's maybe one of the reasons why it doesn't get out as much. It's still a fun experience at 2, but it's not really as
It is
well
better
set
at 3.
up. Yeah,
it's better at 3
Yeah.
because you're playing 2 characters as one, and although that works and that's fine to do, I like it. I liked it a lot at 3 with Justin and stuff.
Yeah, and I got to be in a little bit of the right mood too because it's a hidden movement game, and I'm
Frustrating.
Yeah. There is frustration when you're playing hidden movement games, but the theme of that game and the whole monster hunting aspect that I am addicted to is one of those things that just is always super attractive, and the card play and everything like that on it. It's fun, and I seem like I'm always the beast every time I play it with somebody because I'm always playing with somebody new. But I love playing both sides of it.
That's one thing with that game is when you're teaching people, you end up. It's easier to be either be the beast or be a third party that's advising both player, 2 other players.
Yeah, because the beast is a little more.
But then you don't get to play.
Yeah, the beast is a little less straightforward, and it's you're
well
not
because
a game
everything
master,
they do.
but you're,
because everything you do is secret, you have
Yeah.
to work autonomously outside of the game. You can't have casual conversations about how rules work and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's tricky.
There's that, but it's really cool, and we have both got the. Did you get the expansion content? He did not get the. He got extra content for the original version.
I got the miniatures and I got the blinged out
insert stuff? Oh,
yeah.
You did get the okay, cool. Yeah, well, that'll be really neat. Yeah, I got all of the stuff that wasn't blinged out. I think I even went for standees specifically. Even
Oh,
too.
did you?
I think because I already the
yeah,
original.
you have the
was
acrylic.
standees.
Yeah, you could pick acrylic ones.
I think that's what I went for because I wanted it to be a tighter box, and I knew I wasn't going to paint those miniatures. So, but it is coming. So it's again another reason why it needs to get played so to get ready for when the expansion comes out.
And I really wanted to paint that one, but I didn't want to pay for because I never pull it out because it doesn't hit the table very much. I didn't feel like expanding that. I just wanted this one version of it to be even better.
Yeah, and it's really enough. There's a lot of stuff to dive into.
Plus, I knew he was getting it, so
you can still play it. There's a lot to dive
He needs
in.
me to play this.
Yeah, we have not gone through all of the monsters in it yet. I don't think.
No, we played a lot of them. We played it because I played it like 4 or 5 times, and at least twice with you. So.
Yeah, I probably played it about the same amount. Yeah. So, yeah, that's one that needs to get out.
All right. Oh, my next one, I have only recently gotten it, and I have played it, but it's Stalker.
Stalker. Okay, yeah.
Stalker, I need to play it because that cost a lot of money.
When you spend all this money on a game, and did you paint that one?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is another.
But this one has a little bit different story. Mm-hmm. Like I was determined because I made such an investment in that one. The miniature load on that one, like the amount of miniatures was pretty small compared to Cuthulu Death May Die and some of these other ones. It wasn't like a CMON game where you're getting cases and cases and stuff. In fact, they have 2 waves. They have a first wave and a second wave. The second wave has just been finished manufacturing and is about to ship over. So it's coming. So that means I got like
More
5 months to paint as much as I can paint before that shows. But
it's a tough game though. We played it a couple times.
The rules lift for it is it's not too hard to teach, but learning the rules for it and a lot of the nuanced parts of it are kind of hard.
It's definitely nuanced in the way that you actually do well on the game too.
Yeah.
Like I think that certainly takes some plays to kind of figure out when you should be going after items and things like that. And
well, I piled on
going
those
after
rules.
attacking.
Like we shot a video. I had to reshoot part of it,
Yeah.
so that we did the setup right, and so I kept the setup and stuff. But yeah, I had to try so hard to learn the rules to that one, that once I put it down for a week or two and it started to fade away, it made me kind of shy about picking it up. But that's one that it's got a lot of stuff in there, and I really need to dig into.
Yeah, it's a bit of a beast. Yeah, getting all that out and relearning it and everything. So
absolutely,
that's part of it. Oh man. Okay, so Scythe, is one of these games that I played quite a bit of it. I've played through the whole campaign of it. I played a lot of it when I very first got it. I think it's probably for the game that size. It's one of these games that I've probably played more than other games of that same complexity. It's kind of a little bit heavier in a medium weight game. It looks a lot more complicated than it really is because there's a lot of stuff going on in it. But once you start playing it, that's not like a big crazy brain burner of a game. I can get Ashley to play it, and she likes it quite a bit, so that it kind of shows that it's not overly convoluted or anything like that. But,
right.
But I see that occasionally sitting there. I've got everything for it, nice insert printed, and I think I've played with most of the content of that game, and it's one of the very few ones that I do tend to use all the expansion content, except for the story campaign at the end. I think I've only played through that once, and then haven't.
The Fernies.
Yeah.
What is it called?
I say that, but I do remember one of the last times I played it in the physical nature. I've also played it digitally quite. I know Sean's played the heck out of the digital version of it.
Like every other day.
Yeah. So he just bangs those games out. But I do remember actually using one of the expansion factions last time, the Tesla's daughter or whatever her name was. I can't think of it. It's the the kind of turquoise color one. But it's just such an entertaining world. I'd like to see more of that, or even like some kind of story, more of a. I think this was all just based off the guy's artwork. I thought originally that there were books. It looks like a story that there should have been books for it or something like that.
Oh yeah. I think he kind of saw that artwork and then worked a game around it. Or maybe he had these mechanisms in his head or something and kind of worked it into that.
That whole Eastern European dark, kind of desolate, sort of depressed, just getting by with life kind of art style that they had. Sort of, it's not overly depressed, but it kind of has that little bit like, yeah, we've gone through some hard times.
It's meant to mimic the Polish oil paintings and stuff from Poland. So
yeah, but that's one though that I see. I haven't played it in quite a while.
I haven't played the physical one. Well, I think I played with you last time. It's
maybe,
like a year ago.
Yeah, maybe so. I occasionally see people with it at the board game store, and I look at it and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to jump in on that. And I'm already halfway into it, but yeah, that'd be my next one.
Oh, I like that. Okay, my next one is Six Siege.
Six Siege, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I painted it, haven't played it.
Yeah. We had a buddy of ours come over, and we did a video for it, and kind of a review-ish discussion or whatever afterwards. But yeah, that he had the full set of it. Sean grabbed, because was this one of the companies that was going under?
It did go under.
Yeah, was this
I called it in that video too.
Was it
Mythic?
Mythic, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty easy to see though. It's It's a shame, really. It affected a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
including Paulo, the fellow that came over.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Now it's kind of coming back to me. That was a whole ordeal. Even people not expecting to get that game, and then they finally actually did, and then they had extra copies of it.
I think he went all
Sean
in.
snagged one.
Yeah, he went all in, and so they had to pay like 50% again for the shippings of the whole cost.
Then Sean snuck in there and grabbed that like going out of business sale.
Well, I mean, my one copy still was almost $90.
Yeah,
and it's just that it's. I guess there's some Kickstarter extras in it too, but it's just one box.
Yeah,
you know.
And it's unfortunate because I think that would have been a game that would have been at least in the zeitgeist of games that were talked about and played more if it didn't have such a bad taste for the people that backed it, and then the whole fact that they went under. But it was a neat idea to have this real time sort of it's not really first person shooter.
Well, I mean, we played it with him. It wasn't hard to pick up.
Yeah.
Because it's made to be real time, it didn't have like a real heavy rule set and stuff. So if you kind of get the general overall version of the rules, then you could just, in theory, play it in like 30 minutes.
Kind of had that adrenaline feel put into the game that it was trying to re-implement with the video game that I never played.
But might have to buy some sand timers because the app doesn't get updated and goes featured out. But, other than that, it's fine.
Yeah. So
that's why we got to play it next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta get it out again. I mean, at least for the fact that you bought it, you gotta get it out.
I bought it and I painted it.
And then we didn't play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, if you'd like to see any of these paintings, I have a playlist called Paint Table Updates where you can see all these things.
Yeah. Okay. Check them out. So the next game that I know that I'd really like to get out is On Mars, is a Lacerda game that has been sitting on my shelf. I bought it because I was starting to get really. Sometimes you hear about these designers for so long. Lacerda's got a whole like following of people. They're really heavy game. I mean, I say they're really heavy. They are heavy. They're not like over the top heavy, but I think it's just like a unique set of rules and mechanics that you have to kind of, it takes a minute to gel all that stuff together. There's a lot of little things going on with it. And I got to play the first full game of a Lacerda game with Paolo. That was Inventions, and really, really enjoyed that. It was a long endeavor. We were he learned the rules. He hadn't played it yet. He was teaching it to two of us.
That's tough. That first game, you got to have somebody to tough it out with.
Yeah, yeah. But we were all those people, that mindset, that were happy to do that, and really liked that a lot. And I've played like half, maybe not even half of a solo game of On Mars while I was trying to learn the rules. It's one of those ones though that like the weight of it comes into the idea that like your brain is going to be a little bit broken after you've like learned how all this stuff works together. Everything in these games, there's a lot of little areas that are all working in conjunction together the whole time you're playing it, and by the time you get that all figured out and you played it for like 4 hours, you're kind of like spent. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I haven't fully gotten it out yet. And you also have to have people that are wanting to sit and have that kind of a brain burner experience.
Right.
So it has been sitting on my shelf for too long. It does need to get out.
Yeah, those are tough. Like I don't mind playing them, but man, I feel myself like aging rapidly. Like we're playing some of these games, just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like about.
I need something to knit or something to do with my time between turns.
When I play those kind of games with Sean, I feel like about halfway through the game, Sean's finally realized that I've slowly been getting him onto a torture table, and then he's just like, "Oh God, how much longer is this game got going on with it?" Just as I'm starting to get my tools sharpened,
He'll be like, "Oh, I'm never gonna win." I'm going for left. I'm only lowering my humiliation at this point. Every extra point I get, it's like, oh no.
And I'm overthinking my turns while I'm still leading it now. Yeah. It's fun though.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, my next one is HellBoy.
HellBoy, yeah. Sean's been talking about this one.
Now, man, I bought so much HellBoy. I think I bought everything. I don't think I quite bought everything. I bought at least every game playable thing for HellBoy. And man, I barely scratched the surface on the core box, because the core box, the initial thing that showed up was enormous. I've had it all painted for like since 2023, I think. But
Yeah, I was about to say, it probably came out like, what, 4 years ago or something like that?
yeah, I think initially it did, and it's had a couple of expansions, like a lot of expansions actually. And that one's Mantic Games.
Yeah, and you kind of had to, Sean kind of had to have this too, because that's like your favorite comic book.
Oh
character,
yeah, I
right?
love the comics and the artists and stuff. Mike Magnolia. I'm mispronouncing that, but yeah, I love the whole Hellboy universe, and the game is pretty fun. It's a dice chucking game, so it can be a little random. I have some horrible games where it's just like,
Is it heavy, or is it kind of like a beer and pretzels?
it's beer and pretzels, but it's just it's not Catan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit. There's a little bit, especially in the setup. Like if you're the person that that owns the game and is going to be putting it out to play, there's some stuff to know, because it's got this weird kind of arcadey mechanisms with bunches of cards, and so you'll pick a scenario and it's like, get these kind of cards and these kind of cards and these kind of cards, and kind of assemble it all together, and then you play. And because of that, it can be one of those things you don't necessarily feel like pulling out and playing. And, you know what I mean? Because just like, that for the setup, you're going to be there for like 10 or 20 minutes, like assembling all the decks
stuff out. Yeah. And so does it have a campaign with it, or is it like
No, it's got a bunch of individual missions and that are pre-made, and it's got like a customizer thing where you could kind of like go, I want this thing, like you can randomize a mission,
mix them in.
They call it arcade mode, and that's how you play the more esoteric characters and stuff.
It kind of makes me think of maybe like a Zombicide style thing, where there's like sort of a campaign, but not really. It's just a bunch of scenarios that are one-offs that you throw in.
Oh yeah,
is that kind of how it is?
I don't think so. I didn't look too deeply into the other expansions, but I don't think they ever really incorporated a scenario.
Just a bunch of one-off scenes.
They'll have a bunch of stuff in and around the stories of Hellboy. So they'll have a couple of pre-made adventures you can go on, but a lot of them are designated long, short, medium. So it's more like, here's a reason to play Hellboy in Mexico. Yeah. Here's a reason to play. So
mix it up. Yeah. Well, I'm sure anybody that's a fan of the universe, it's kind of a fanfare theme built game more than anything. Right?
Yeah, they got Hellboy as the luchador. Well, I mean, why ain't I playing that right now?
That's so fun. Yeah. I think we're probably at about 5 now, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to say I didn't put this in a particular order, but I did kind of save this one more or less for last. As an Age Contrived. This is a game made by I haven't even been mentioning who's making the other ones, but it's made by a company called Bellows Intent, and I believe that's like the first game that they've really made, if I remember correctly. Which also is contrived and convoluted sounding of a name that doesn't make sense with the rest of the theme of this. The theme is just, it's a weird game, but it's full of Euro goodness, and like it is one of those games that you got to be one of those like people that like an odd rule set of different mechanics that no other games really doing the same thing with. Everything is pretty unique. It's a real kind of a heavy load to get into, because it's not really like any other games that I've played. The theme, again, doesn't really tie much into, you're kind of just doing these things to let you do these things, to let you do these things, which sounds like it might be bad. And yeah, they could have maybe done something better with like a theme that ties everything together. But the really fun thing with it, though, is it does have like a kind of customizable asymmetry system that you're creating for your character, I guess, that you're using on the game to go around and eventually score you the most points you can get, just like any other good Euro game. But the expansion for that came out this year on crowdfunding. I can't remember which one had it, if it was GameFound or Kickstarter. but I was like, do I get it? Do I not? I was like, I know it's a good game, even though I haven't gotten through a full game of it. I played just enough of it with Ashley until she was tortured enough and she quit on me. And I was just getting to the point where like, oh man, this is getting good. I was like, I'm starting to get an engine together and this is getting really fun. And I'm seeing how everything's working. And she's just like, wait, stop. God, this is it's too convoluted for her. And it's very, very convoluted. There should be an age not convoluted. Is what they should call it instead of an age contrived. But it's neat, it's unique, and I need to get it played because I did back the expansion. I shouldn't have probably, but I did anyways just because I know there's something special about that game that I need to get in and play. But unfortunately,
can you play it solo?
You can, but the solo is terribly convoluted.
Oh.
Like it's painful to go through the solo because I guess they didn't ever figure out a way to make those complex turns happen in a way that didn't end up being pages of like, if this thing happens then he's going to do this unless this is here, and if that's here then he does this other thing, but if that he's trying to do that other thing but he can't, he's going to do this thing. And so it's like this whole, it's just a mess to go through the solo, and that's
take the whole day off is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can do it, but it's a whole nother game to learn. It's like a whole nother big rule set to have to, and then you're going to be flipping through things, and it's none of that is intuitive. So unfortunately, that doesn't work real well solo. So eventually, I'm going to get one of my buddies that likes to get into these kind of heavy brain burners. Just Paolo would be a perfect one.
He'd love
to play that.
I wouldn't mind playing it either. We'll just have to set aside some time.
Yeah, we'd get through. Too bad there's not like a short version of that game, but there's not really. It's just like, here's the game.
Yeah, sometimes I wish they'd make some...
There's extra stuff you can add in.
Yeah. I wish they'd make sort of a training wheels version of it, but I guess you might not get a full experience. And, maybe it's not worth it if you don't just jump head first into the icy waters of whatever imagination came out of him.
Weird world of being a god and a prophet. I don't know what it just doesn't... Theme doesn't make sense. It's not even worth trying to really explain the theme on it, but...
Well,
Euro goodness engine building, asymmetry building game.
I have another game that I just finished painting, so if we play it within a month, I'd say we can just break the curse on it.
Yeah.
But it's Cuthulu Death May Die, the new one. What is it called? It's right there in the blue.
You just backed another one too right before.
Well, that's why I'm getting...
Fear of the Unknown.
Yeah, Fear of the Unknown. The other one's like something reaches and it was stuck in my head.
Don't be afraid of the unknown, Sean.
I am a little afraid. I don't know if I should spend hundreds of dollars on these games.
Well, I will say that this is your favorite game. So it's one of those games that, like, I almost mentioned Sword and Sorcery. I kind of forgot about it, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. It's one of those games that you back too much content for it because it has been one of my favorite games for a long time. It's still up there, but it's a heavy load to get out. Cuthulu Death May Die is not terribly bad to get out.
No, it's not bad to get out. It's very modular in nature. That's one of the things I love about it. And the other thing I love about it is it's got this character escalation where you become powerful and stuff. Owen and I have had some kind of crappy games of it. I really wanted to I want to play a game with you, kind of like so you get a taste of it. I was really grateful when we played the game Nemesis that we ended up having such a good time.
Yeah, that was one of the best. That might be the best game experience I've had. I think for just the excitement of it and the way it played out.
Well, there are some games of Cuthulu Death May Die that kind of end up that same way, where you're just like. You got two handfuls of dice, and you're like, I'm going to need 4 more green ones. And then, the monsters also escalating and becoming more powerful and stuff too. And you're just, you're wiping them out.
Yeah.
You're about to die, but you're like as powerful as you'll ever be without dying.
And it's one of my favorite memories too. Playing a game with Sean was we were playing a goofy game of it. This is actually the first time I played it. He brought it over for Halloween at the game store. They were doing kind of a Halloween get together, and Sean had his big, massive Cthulhu. It's the big giant. It's not even a miniature. It's just a big giant
Yeah, the big
structure. Yeah. So he gets this it's the last scenario on what the original set of Cthulhu, is that right? Yeah.
They made a scenario so this thing would have a reason to exist.
Yeah. So this thing is massive. I'll put it right up. So here's my head. That's about how big it is. It's not quite a miniature. So he's got this big ugly Cthulhu guy, well painted and everything, and we're doing the last battle against him, and we're playing with everybody. Nobody's playing a serious game. We're all kind of goofing around.
Yeah.
Sean's just more or less having his own reason to get this thing out and show it to everybody. And so people are playing, they're dying, they're messing around, and I'm trying, but I'm not, really. I was kind of expecting that we're gonna just, because all of these Death May Die games are kind of like that, where you kind of looks like you're gonna die, and then you just get by at the last moment. And I had Rasputin as the character, and he was going for his last rolls or whatever, and so as last big hoorah, he had like one or two more rolls. I think the first roll depended on whether he'd even be able to roll a second time. And Sean pulls up on his phone, he starts playing the Rasputin song, like rah rah Rasputin, love the Russian king. And I ended up killing him right there, and everybody else had already they're just all talking and buzzing off, and Sean's right there with me because he's running the game for us. And
he's the last one left.
And that was a blast. So that was one of my other favorite game experiences, just because of the whole build up right at the last moment and then the death at the end.
Yeah.
In the right direction.
That's a tough way to start Cthulhu. Like this scenario is so different from all the other ones, but that was a great time.
It was fun. Whether we played it right or wrong, it was fun.
Yes.
Yeah. I liked it. So yeah. Last thing I'll say about Cthulhu Death May Die 2 is that because we have played a couple other regular games of it, I feel like the next time I'm going to be ready to actually play it properly, because you're supposed to go a little crazy. It looks like it's one of those things you're trying to protect yourself from getting too crazy. I think you're supposed to get kind of crazy a little quick to make yourself powerful.
Yeah.
And bust it in. So it's a little bit of a learning curve for me getting into the unique nature of that game.
It's tough because you gotta dip your toes in pretty early, but then kind of not go too far. Like I always go further and further. Like I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
Not spending any stress to re-roll anything. I'll just take all those tentacles and stuff, and then
and then go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least you had a good time before you went crazy.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I guess we got one final game.
Yeah.
And the reason it's last is we're going to play it right now.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, Dune Imperium is a game that a lot of people have played a lot of, and we have not played enough of.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been a long time since it's hit the table, and tonight it does.
Yeah.
Are we doing Uprising?
I'm good with either, honestly.
I haven't opened my first one.
Okay, well, then we're going to do Uprising. Yeah. Uprising is a little... some people find it more fun because it's a little more swingy. You have some bigger plays and stuff that happen in it. I did open and play... Like, you got both of them. You opened this one. I think we played it. And then I went back home and I had the other one I'd gotten on a sale and had not even opened it yet and got it out and played it. And it's quite a bit different. Even though it's more or less the exact same game, but it's quite a bit different in the way that it feels. Because it's a lot tighter of a game. You have to be a little more maybe strategic with it, where this one you might just pick up a card that lets you do something crazy.
Right,
and you have this big strong play. But they're both wonderful expansions and everything like that. Had quite a bit of fun into the whole game. I think they're all not terrible to mix into the game either, and I love it. This is one of those games I love to lose to if somebody has a really good sneaky play at the end, and they end up having like points that just shoot them over the top at the end.
This one's I haven't figured out the strategy to this yet. Like I don't think I've played it enough.
Yeah,
my daughter's boyfriend liked to come over and play this game with me, so I need to play it again with you, so I know how to kick his butt.
Yep, that's what he needs. Gotta
dominate, show him who's boss.
You gotta beat the boyfriend. Otherwise,
with a sandworm. Beat him upside the head with a sandworm.
Sean doesn't pull out a shotgun. He pulls out a board game that he knows he can win on. You should just make him play Last Light.
Yeah.
That way you can just dominate him and be like, well, better luck next year, boy.
I don't want to be cruel.
Yeah.
I just want to show his balls.
You can't take my daughter out unless you beat me at this game. We'll play all night. Yeah.
It's a little late.
But Dune is such a great theme, such great card play on it. Man, everything about this game is a ton of fun.
It's a really well made game. It's one of the few games that's kind of like very thematic. Like as far as the art,
really well.
Well, the art is made to match a movie, which usually turns me off. Like I don't like it when the art's made to match a particular franchise of a movie. Like if it's a studio kind of thing. Usually those kinds of things suck, but they managed to slap it onto a really good game.
Yeah, and I think the art was really well done because it's not like...
I'm not saying it's bad.
It's not so realistic to the movie. It's not like screenshots.
It's not a photograph. It's placed like in the 80s, right?
It's not like... and even like IPs and stuff like that, sometimes it's a little lame. Like Monster Hunter did that where they had just literal pictures of images from like the actual video game on the card art. They didn't do any art. They just did images,
right?
Basically of stuff. But yeah, I appreciate it.
But it's all real art, though. Yeah, it's good art too.
Yeah, good stuff. Nice battles in the desert.
Well, folks, I think that's all we got for you today. We'll be back soon with more musings about board games and reviews and playthroughs and other things. Be sure to check out Owen over at Organic Cardboard. He'd love your subscription, and so would I, because we'd love to see you again. Until next time, enjoy your games. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.